funny music. Um, hey, so I wanted to show for you guys. So, damn, sweet. Uh, yeah. So like, I used to do programming a lot, and to kind of get to it, I have this whole crate system that I set up. All these are potential crates I can make, but the main three ones are this one, Damage Bow, Goobert, and Stone Sword. I'll work on more of it, but right now it's for the prison key that you can get. But me, I just need to make some more keys real quick. My duplication method. There we go. Keys. So whenever you drop a key down here, it'll first test for the item, which it'll go with the name. Which this is really annoying to do. You'll have to drop the item because for default, Bedrock can get NBT data. Like it says stuff like here like plus data, but it doesn't say like MBT or whatever. It just says data. So it has its own like separate system that it works with for stuff. So you name the item prison key, and whenever you drop it on the ground, it becomes an entity. So that's how it can register this, because it tests for AE, which is entities, radius of 2, and its name on the entity is prison key. Then it'll kill the item, which is just the same command block except for with kill instead in front of it, instead for test for item, then kill. And these are all, this test for is unconditional but always active because we always want to test for. But this one is conditional, meaning that the previous one has to go through for this to work, and it's also always active. And then this one's also conditional, and when it happens, it'll do execute as /R, and it's looking for type is equal to armor stand, and the name on the armor stand is prison loot. So this right here is prison loot for this, and that's the name tag on it. If we had a different name, because you can't name the armor stand by itself, you need to give it a name tag because it won't spawn in with the name tag. So prison loot, it has to be exactly the same as the name tag. So it looks for prison loot, and then on the prison loot, at it, it's gonna run at self run /clone like tilde 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 tilde, which is cloning the block that it's on, and then 1009, like this is just the coordinates that this chest will spawn at. But it's like, oh well, that's pretty nifty. How is it like choosing all this? And the cool thing about this system is that every single thing that has the same name tag as prison loot, instead of picking all of them, it'll just pick a random one with the same tag. So if, let's say you wanted the system to work for like an entity where it got like a zombie that was in the same radius or whatever, and just like wanted to give it a buff, you could like have a lightning strike spawn on it and give it like a bunch of health beforehand so it doesn't die, or like spawn next to it or around it, and you could just make that zombie like super buffed out of all the zombies that are like around, like make it a boss zombie or an event. But it's a really cool system because whatever has the name, it'll just decide like one of those things. So to show this in practice, empty chest, throw down key, gives loot here, and then take that, throw down key, or loot, throw down key. Oh, not close enough. See, so it says it found it a bunch of times. Need to up the radius of this block. Kill. Oh, look, I'm fixing it right now, guys. Okay, radius of 3, that should work. That. Oh, look, I got a bow. Again, a Goobert. What is a Goobert? Goobert is a snowman. Good Goobert. But yeah, see, so that's the whole system with commands. These two are just the same. Instead, for the first one, it just tests for the item to see if it's on the ground, and then it kills it. and then spawns whatever's underneath the armor stand. Also, the interesting thing about armor stands is, if you look at this final thing I want to just nerd out about for a sec. If you spawn it here, you see how it like doesn't sync at all? And then when we place it on chests, Minecraft cave noises are messing up my demonstration. Okay. So place it here, does not move down at all. When we place it here, it sinks down a little bit. You see? So that's how we're able to get this final command to be tilde tilde tilde. Because when you press that as a thing, it takes the exact location of it. So if we had one up here that just was named prison loot, it wouldn't get anything because this is just standing on air, so it would replace it with nothing. But since it sinks into the chest a little bit, it's able to actually get its like location as that. Like, you can barely tell, but if you look, it moves up just ever so slightly. So that's the reason the whole like tilde is without any like getting the coordinate or like -1, since if it was a full block you'd have to get below it, but since it sinks into it a little bit, it just gets the exact position. Really cool stuff. So yeah, this is how the whole loot key system works. Players will not have access to anvils because if they can look at the key name, though the one problem with this system, which is why players will not have anvils, is if they check the key name and they just name any item this, the thing is, it won't really look for, like, because it's looking for the entity. Like, so I guess I could try to figure out if I can get, like, the specific entity type to check if it's this. But at that point, you could just turn your prison keys into, like, eternal keys or whatever I make the strongest key, and it wouldn't really matter in the same way if you had access to this. Or I could try getting, like, a key code that's hard to get, but if you're on PC, you could probably do it. Like, there's a whole thing about it. I've looked into data tags, but honestly, they're a bit confusing. Where you were to like slash give at s like stone, and then it says amount here, so just one, and then data. Like, I've looked into that. I don't really understand it the best, but yeah, basically you name the thing whatever, it'll, you know. So instead of looking for the item from your inventory, it just looks for the dropped entity. So people won't have access to anvils, but I'll make other ways of getting stuff, and besides, you don't really need to rename your items custom names anyway in this by how it's set up, but yeah, that is the whole thing. 3-minute demonstration.